Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to another video. Someone commented and said that they can't understand me because I speak too fast, so I'm really going to try and enunciate in this video and just speak slower, just be chilled, like Jojo Siwa on Horse Tranquilizer. That's the aim I'm going for. But recently, The Sims 4 has been under a lot of heated debate, to say the least, I'm not gonna lie. Kayla's had to go.
It's messy. Okay, it's messy.
James has had to go.
Seems like a lot of this stuff just isn't being checked before it's being pushed out.
And you know what? Honestly, hand on my heart, I feel like it's rightfully so. Just because we're game changers, it doesn't mean that we can't state our own opinion just because we get the pack for free. That's what we're here for, to change the game and make the game more enjoyable for everybody. And a lot of game changers have been playing the game for a long time, such as myself. Just in case you didn't know, I've been playing The Sims since the year 2000, so I've been here through every single version of the game, just to have you know that one. And for someone who's been through every single version of the game, you can really see the issues in the game because you've got something to compare it to. I do say a lot of the time that nostalgia gets in the way quite a lot, because obviously I remember The Sims 2 being absolutely amazing and completely forget the fact that there was absolutely no story progression at all. Everybody else was just Edward Cullen, just living the best life forever and ever and ever, apart from your family who always died. But we always forget them kind of things. But that doesn't mean that there still isn't bad things in The Sims 4. I'm very opinionated. I don't know if I've ever noticed. I am opinionated and I'm not scared about sharing my opinion. If I think someone's crap, I'm going to call a spade, you know. But shockingly enough, the world does not revolve around me. Someone call the newspapers. I wanted to find out if I'm alone in this, because all game changers, we interact with each other, you know, behind the scenes. We talk to each other, so we go over this kind of thing. But it can be a little bit isolating sometimes because we're all in the exact same job. We do the exact same thing, so we have pretty much the same thoughts and opinions. And I wanted to know if that exists throughout all of the community, because you've got people who share their opinion online willingly, like me, myself, and I. Then you've got people who sit and think and don't type anything on the keyboard, you know. So I thought I'll do a survey because it's better. People are more likely to answer if it's anonymous, so we can really find out what the actual community is thinking. And EA, if you're watching this, hen, feel free to peers. But also, if you're watching this, I think this brings a really good understanding to the issues and the good points towards the game as well. We're just here basically to put it all together and sit and talk about it. So I did actually do 2 surveys because this one apparently didn't work for a lot of people, so sorry about that one. And then this one as well on SurveyMonkey. I must just be really missing university for me to want to go and do market research, etc, etc. Like, haven't I gave myself enough trouble? I asked you 3 questions. What's the best thing about The Sims 4? The worst thing about The Sims 4? And then finally, how can The Sims 4 improve? So I'm going to talk about my results and the findings, and I'm going to share it all together and be one happy, complaining family. I picked the ones that were most prominent, the ones that kept coming up, and I've listed how many times they were mentioned, and I'm going to put them in a ranking list. So the list we have right now is what's the best thing about The Sims 4. And at the bottom of this list, although still quite high because it's the top said ones, is emotions. And this one struck me. I was a little bit surprised about that one, because emotions, I would say, one of the worst things about The Sims 4, because for me, they just kind of get in the way. They don't help me. In fact, they only hinder me. I don't want my Sims to take an angry poop. I just want them to do exactly what I say. It was such a big, massive selling point of The Sims 4. Emotions were really pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. They must have all known that we were emo kids back in the day. And then now emotions just seem like pushed off by the wayside, which also probably is one of the reasons that it's the lowest on this list. Next is managing a lot of households. This one also kind of confused me. I didn't really know what this meant, because you have got manage worlds, and I suppose actually, yeah, maybe I'm just scratch that, I am just a big fat idiot. So you can, from the game menu, just go in and alter families and mix them up and stuff like that. You could kind of do that in The Sims 3. couldn't really do that in The Sims 2, and I don't think you could do it at all in The Sims 1. So there's definitely been improvements there, so well done EA. The next one, it's inclusivity / diversity. So a lot of people are saying they love The Sims 4 because you can be whoever you want to be. Instead of just this whitewashed game where only Americans and Europeans could really find the place, everyone can find the place now to some extent, because there's still the issue with the skin tones that are patchy in game. So I'm not gonna lie, as much as the skin tones could be a little bit more inclusive, because that ain't it. The hairstyles definitely could be more inclusive. I genuinely think the Sims team, they are working on a more inclusive and diverse game, and I think that's only a positive. Next up is loading times / how the game runs. It is a lot less laggy than The Sims 3. My gaming computer doesn't handle The Sims 3 amazingly. I can't play it in large households, where in The Sims 4, I can pretty much play really well in large households on my gaming computer. And on my old laptop, the one I started off with when I started this channel, that cannot run The Sims 3 and like 2 packs at all. That really struggles. But it can run a big massive house on The Sims 4. Okay, not amazingly well. So it definitely has got better in that regard. Whether that's cut corners in other places though. And then after that one, the next highest voted one was downloadable content. People really like the additions that are coming to the game and everything like that. And I think this one is maybe not so exclusive to The Sims 4, because downloadable content has always been a thing in The Sims. And that's why I get so confused sometimes when I see people raging on Twitter about, why are we paying for seasons? This should be part of the game. Or why are we paying for this? Blah, blah, blah. It's something that we've always paid for. It's not like EA have suddenly turned around and went, no, you know what? All this content you're going to have to pay for now. That's always been a part of it. But also I will say the DLC for The Sims 4 I actually enjoy, and I didn't think I would. And I think the problems with it stem from The Sims 4 problems as a whole. I think one thing to consider as well is DLC is pretty high on the list. That's number 5. And it's a lot of money to lay down on The Sims if you buy every single expansion pack, game pack, stuff pack. I know they give us a lot of free things, but we also pay for a lot as well. And if DLC's rate so high, does that mean that The Sims is only good if you've got all the DLC? Which it shouldn't be, because you'll spend a lot less money on one game with no expansion packs and probably be able to get thousands of hours out of it. But also, DLC and loads of expansion packs and loads of stuff packs isn't a new thing to The Sims. It started off like that in The Sims 1. But I think expansion packs, game packs and stuff packs should be unnecessary bits of fun. So you don't need them to have a good time. Sounds like an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. It's not. Child friendly. Higher on the list, which is higher than I actually placed it, but it still hasn't won by a long shot, is gameplay. Gameplay was the 4th highest rated thing for what's the best thing about The Sims 4, which I think is telling considering it's a life simulation game. And at the end of the day, gameplay should be one of the most focused parts of the game, and it should be one of the best parts of the game. But it's 4th on the list. Thank God it came above loading times. That's all I've got to say. If I want to build, I'll go on The Sims 4. If I want to do gameplay, I'll go to Sims 3. The 3rd highest on the list was aesthetically pleasing. Incorporates everything like the UI design, the world itself, the look of the Sims and everything like that. That's everything that's included in this. And this makes sense, to be honest, because it took me a while to warm up to it. But the aesthetic design of the Sims, not including that new redesign though, I will leave a link in the description of my reaction to that one down below if you want to go see me complain yet again. But it makes sense. But should aesthetics be rated over gameplay? I think not. And then the 2nd highest on the list was build mode. And I can't lie, build mode in The Sims 4 is 100% the best version of build mode we've ever got in any game. Takes me 20 minutes to build a start house in The Sims 4. Takes me about 40 minutes to an hour to build a start house in The Sims 3. As well as the innovations that we're getting with stairs and everything like that. The different wall heights, although EA haven't really committed to that fully. I really feel like it has improved a lot. So I agree with this one being the 2nd highest. And then the top of the list, winning by a landslide, is Create a Sim. This got the most amount of votes by far. I think we definitely could have a colour wheel for hair and skin tone. I think them two must be a necessity in The Sims 5. So yeah, overall I think I agree with all of that. Not surprised at all that gameplay was 4th on the list, but I think that's also very, very bad. And it also just kind of proves everything that I've always said, that The Sims 4 focuses more on style over substance, because the style of Create a Sim, build mode and the whole style of the game is rated higher than gameplay. Next up, the question was, What's the worst thing about The Sims 4? And I've done it in the exact same style. Whichever ones came up the most, I've ranked them by how much they came up. So at the bottom, we have the worst thing about The Sims 4 is EA. I think that's part of the reason, because I feel like the Sims team gets attacked a lot. I think there's definitely some laziness on the Sims team. I think there's some kind of miscommunication between the community and the Sims team. I think their idea of what we want and our idea of what we want isn't necessarily 100% clear. Also, I think saying that every single thing is the Sims team's fault and it's all to do with the Sims team and they're so bad and they're so wrong, I feel like some of that is misplaced. EA is the head of the Sims. Like, it could be to do with time constraints given to the Sims team by EA. This is purely just speculation, by the way, so do not sue me. EA probably have more to play in this than just the Sims. This isn't really to do with that, but I did want to bring this up as well, because I've seen a lot of comments on my Realm of Magic video of people saying, oh, well, I feel like they build the houses badly, so it encourages us to build them better. I do not accept that. Don't think it's any excuse whatsoever. If you download a pack and you pay for this pack, the world should come complete. If it was an indie game, I'd maybe make some allowances for that, but this isn't an indie game. This is a franchise that's been going on since the year 2000. These kind of things should not be missed at this stage. Anyway, next up on the list, on a slightly happier note, we have loading times. And yeah, the game runs quicker and everything like that, but that does also come at a price through loading times. And to do with that one, the next one is also closed worlds. And I've spoke about this with the first question, so I'm going to skip over that one. The next one that we've got, which I really agree with, is the game is too easy. And a lot of comments that came up about this was all, I don't want to be morbid, but it's too hard to kill my Sims. And I'm like, it really is. It's a struggle to kill your Sims. It's not just like the olden days where you just remove the pool lad. You can't even do that now. They're taking everything away from us. But I also included comments that said there's no challenge because there's no burglars. Nothing's got any real repercussions. And I 100% agree. If everything's easy, you don't want to play it. Next up as well, which I wholeheartedly agree with, is the lack of content for toddlers / children / teens / elders. The Sims 4 is basically a millennial simulator where you can live out your young adult life in the city, blah blah blah, and I don't want to do that. They say we don't play with families, but maybe if they came out with more things that we could play with families, we might play families more. Next up is lack of swatches, and I 100% agree. Like I said about the skin tone, hair tone, eye color situations, definitely a lack of swatches there. But a lot of the comments that came up as well also spoke about lack of matching swatches with furniture, a lack of basic white and black swatches, and a lot of the color schemes just don't seem to mix together. I think The Sims 4 could really do with having just these base swatches that each item comes in and then adding extra ones along the way. This one is quite a controversial one, but also not really. I say it's controversial because it's quite heavy criticism. I've mixed these two ones together and it's bugs / low quality content, and I've mixed them together because a lot of them said we get things that come out and they're not fully polished and they don't work and everything like that, and then they don't sort it. And I agree, for example, with the island counter, like James Turner pointed out in his video, that's really low quality content when there was already a CC creator who'd done that within days. A lot of people feel like they're not getting a good investment from the money, and I think the Sims team can definitely improve. Like I said in my last video as well about the houses, we're 19 years into the game now. The Sims should have nailed a decent floor plan. The top one that people think is the worst thing about The Sims 4 is gameplay lacks depth. I included everything like it needs more interactions between Sims, and it 100% does. It needs more repercussions in life. Not just in The Sims. But say if you go cheat on your husband, things could be fine in 2 days, and it's that kind of thing that makes the game boring. And that's a word that came up a lot in all of your comments as well, boring, as well as the lack of lore, because lore is something I basically made my channel on Sims lore because there's so much of it, and then when I do a video on Sims lore in The Sims 4, there's not really that much. That's why I tend to go for different families. And one thing I noticed in Realm of Magic, and I forgot to say in my video, is the wizarding community is quite a small community, right? 5 lots in the full world, but the families don't know each other, and I'm just like, how in that small of a community? And I've made a save file and I go in and edit the relationships. It's not that hard. So Sims should know each other if they live in the same world. They should have intricate relationships. They should have intricate storylines, because not all of us are super creative and can just come up with a storyline off the spot. We can't. Sometimes we need a little push. Lore is one of the things that really draws you in about The Sims. We're still talking about Bella Goth in The Sims 2 to this day. Why aren't they including that lore? It's kind of reiterates my point earlier. What the Sims team think we want and what we actually want, they are not the same thing. We want lore, we want in-depth storylines that we don't necessarily have to create ourselves. Finally, I asked you how The Sims 4 can improve. It ties into the worst thing about The Sims 4, so I'm not going to go over these ones too much because I've been recording for 24 minutes, lol. I've just said lol in person. Oh my god, somebody sue me. Judge Judy! At the bottom we have open world, and I used to really want an open world, I'm not gonna lie. I really think that a closed world benefits the game more. For example, if you go to a club now, a lot of people will be there, where in Sims 3 you go to a club and it'd be like, oh my god, it's bouncing tonight, and be like, oh my god, someone ring borough taxis now. I think a semi-open world's best. The next highest one we have is fix the bugs, and I agree with that one. Not gonna go too in depth with it. Next is make it for adults, which I found quite interesting. Not necessarily like a Second Life kind of thing. Is that even I've never played that, so ask Carmen King if you want to know. I think that's to do with the comment in the last question about it being too easy, because it really does feel like it's a game for kids, and a lot of us aren't kids, you know. Are you sure about that, Jessie? Are you really sure about that? And even 12-year-olds, they can handle a little bit of violence. They can handle a sim drowning without a pool ladder. They can handle affairs. A lot of them will probably be going to therapy because of the parents' divorce. I'm sure they can handle it in The Sims. And then above that we have add more swatches, which, like I said in the last one, 100% big fat agree. Above that one as well, again, we've already been in this really in depth, but it's improved the lore, and I think this is one of the biggest things that can improve The Sims 4. We're kind of getting to the point now where you can't really do much to The Sims 4 because The Sims 5 is allegedly in development, but it totally is, but allegedly. Not much point changing the entire game mechanics if you're going to be bringing out a new game. So I think with future packs, improving the lore within them packs could definitely bring a brand new spark back to the game. And then the top voted one is add more depth to gameplay, which 100% I agree. The gameplay is repetitive, it's boring, and I used to only ever play for gameplay, where now I'm more of a builder, and that says something. But that's everything I have for this video. I really enjoyed this and going through your opinions. I also want to start going through your builds. I have 2 people who've messaged me giving me their builds to go through, but I am also currently moving house, so I'm going to really try and stay on top of videos. I'm going to try and be as consistent as I can. I have videos literally planned, ready for me to record, ready to go, and I've got videos still to edit. I'm trying my best. So if you're not already subscribed, please do, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.